Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again, and we're gonna get right down to business here in this episode of my Hartford Whalers franchise mode series, because today we need to rebuild this team. Today we are going to rebuild this team, at least the defense and the goaltending, and I'll tell you why. I went through every team. I found the goaltenders that I want for team depth, because the only guy we have right now that's worth keeping is Petrolainen. I've also found the defensive depth that I want because, Wellwood's basically the only guy that's worth keeping. Hughes isn't going to make it. Nikulin definitely isn't going to make it. Hughes might, but it's a safe bet to get rid of him now. So we really need to bring in some team depth, some organizational depth, and that's what we're going to look to do. With the forwards, though, excuse me. With the forwards, so many of these guys are bubble players, we'll say. Andrechuk, McAllister, Stoll, even Pressburg. And we need to see how they're going to progress heading in to the preseason before we really decide what this team's going to look like from an offensive standpoint. But for defense and goaltending, we have that all figured out. Now it's just time to make our move and to go get the players that we want. And the first thing we need to do is get ourselves a backup goalie. And this is my choice. Noah Drury, 22 years old, medium starter potential, 80 overall, a backup goalie, former second overall would be ridiculous. Former second round pick, has a decent set of save percentages in the AHL. It's going to be his first year as a backup, but I'm willing to take the risk. Maybe I shouldn't be. It is a little bit of it's flat out a risk. That's the only way to put it. But out of all the goaltenders that that I looked at least, he was the safest bet, I would say. Now, the first guy to get rid of is not Flood. He, along with Wellwood, are the only two defensive prospects that we're keeping. Bayer he's an up-in-the-air pick, actually, now that I think about it. Lume is not. So Lume is going to be the guy that we look to use in this deal. 1-for-1 isn't good enough, but we do have some players that are a bit weaker in terms of value that might be able to put this over the edge. They weren't able to, unfortunately. Let's go for draft picks. We have 2 firsts, and we have quite a few seconds. We're going to use our own third rounder. I expect this to be a good team yet again. That still wasn't enough. Now, this is what I was concerned about, whether or not a team would be a little bit frustrating just because they don't want to trade that player. We are going to have to get the value up there. Let's see if there's anybody that I want to move that is, the type of player that they want, that is on the block, so to speak. You know what I'm trying to say. And unfortunately, any player that they want doesn't really go along with what I'm willing to do, with the exception, spoiler alert, of Casey Ribeiro. I'm all right with getting rid of Casey Ribeiro in a way. It's tough. It's between Ribeiro and another defenseman. If I move Ribeiro here, I absolutely have to go out and get that other defenseman, which is kind of scary. So I'm not going to do that. Problem is, we're going to have to give up a little bit more than what I would prefer to. And by that, I mean probably a second-round pick. We can give up our own second-rounder. That's still not enough. All right, Vegas, you're being a little bit difficult here. I know. I know that I'm getting someone that, you don't want to keep. This is frustrating. That's all I'm saying. Let's be honest. They're being a little bit frustrating. But let's go ahead and use our next. If that's not enough, thank you. I had to give up way more for just one goalie than I wanted to. And the sad thing is, I still have 3 other goalies I need to go out and get. The next one is going to be here on the Rangers. It's going to be Perreault, who's kind of a safety net for us. If Drury doesn't work out, there's a good chance that Perreault could. We're going to move Kavanaugh, who we just drafted. We're going to move Bissonnette. And actually, here, I kept track. I do have a Word document open on my computer right in front of me to try and keep track of who I wanted to move. So we do have Bissonnette. Netterost is worth keeping. Atkinson is not. So we'll try to move all 3 of these players at once. I might be able to get a third rounder out of this. Let's see. No. How about now? Oh, boy. The frustration of trying to trade certain players when they don't want those pieces. You really got to make it worth their while. But if we were only to acquire players that the AI wanted to give up, it wouldn't be worth making trades in the first place. Let's give up the Arizona second. Is that enough? Oh, God. All right. Well, for the Rangers, I didn't check to see who fits the bill. Probably the same group of players. I accidentally went to rookie skaters. I don't know why. Casey Ribeiro again. Someone who I'm not looking to give up necessarily. Second and a third. Is that enough? Thank you. All right. Again, we had to give up more than what I wanted to, but it's all right. This is just for goaltenders. I still have defensemen I'm looking to get, so this could be difficult. Bartley's the other one. Bartley is the other main goaltender I'm looking to get. The AHL is shaping up to be Perreault and Bartley. We'll see if that happens. And to make this happen, we are going to give up Hood in this. I don't want to, though. I don't want to. Never mind. There's got to be somebody else that can make this happen without this being as difficult. Just have to take some players out of the list there. Nikulin, I'm going to need that high value. Bayer, Neterost, Ranta, I'm willing to keep those guys. So it's just Nikulin and Hughes, but they have that extra value, so I'm a little bit hesitant to move them. Who else could we look to move? 20 years old, 58, 20 years old, 58 overall. Kolsonic is definitely out, and Bochenski as well. 2 players worth moving. That probably won't go through as it stands. But you know me, I'm gonna throw a couple of picks in there just to make sure. And that turned out to be a pretty good idea, although apparently taking off the 6th doesn't really help. How about a 5th and a 7th, just to get something back? Thank you. All right, because we are gonna have to include more draft picks coming up. There's one more goalie I want, and it's actually a tie between 2 guys who are basically the same. That being Panay and Shea in Pittsburgh. And I'm going to go for Shea, I think. Why not? Why not? So who can we use here? We still have Weaver and Hood that we have to move. You'll notice that I'm trying to hold on to players that have a bit more value. Bradford is a real fringe player. 19 years old. Oh, Essa Hall, though. I have to keep Essa Hall, at least. I have to see how he develops. Someone like Sanford, I really don't think will develop. This guy, Sutter, is absolutely gone. All right, so we'll use Sutter in this trade. How about Sutter and our own 3rd round pick? Hartford would have too many goalies. All right, I'm going to have to come back to that. I'm going to have to come back to this because I don't want to move anyone yet. So we're going to look at our defensemen. That's the next step. Columbus, though. They have the one player, the one defenseman that I was talking about that could replace Ribeiro. That being Travis Isaac, who was just taken number 1 overall. You guys can't be surprised to see me looking at acquiring him. The problem is, though, we already have Appleby and Harkins. I could keep Ribeiro, who is basically locked in the medium top 6. He hasn't really progressed too much over these past few seasons. Solid defenseman, but is never really going to test one of the other 2 that are already there. So we could keep him there and knowing that he's a safe, surefire bet for 3rd pairing, or we go out and get Sizik, who will more than likely challenge at least Harkins for the 2nd pairing spot. When that happens, we probably trade Harkins and then find a new 3rd pairing guy. That's kind of the vicious cycle that I'm looking at starting. So as much as I like Casey Ribeiro, now is the right time for him to go. We're also going to tack on Nikulin, 21 years old, only a 60 overall. We'll tack him onto this deal. I don't think that'll go through. Let me just check. If it does, I'm all right with it. No, it didn't. Okay. Worth a shot. Worth a shot. We'll go to draft picks. How about 2 third-round picks? What do you say? Still no. I'm not sure how close we are, to be honest. I know I'm going to have to give up more, but it's at least worth checking to see how close we are. We'll give up the Winnipeg second. We'll also give up 2 third-rounders. What do you say, Columbus? Sweeten it just a touch. All right. 2 second-rounders. Ribeiro, Nikulin, and 2 second-rounders for the number 1 overall pick. Ribeiro, Nikulin, 2 second-rounders, and a 4th-rounder for the number 1 overall pick. There you go. There you go. We gave up quite a bit, but we'll see how it works out for us. Now, there's also another deal involving an NHL defenseman at this point in time, and I think you know the player that I'm talking about. I'm going to pull the trigger. We are going to look to acquire Charlie McAvoy. We're going to move out Provorov, as ridiculous as that is. However, on Boston, there are 3 defensemen I'm interested in. Christic, McAvoy, and James. Whether or not I can make this happen, let's find out. I was also interested in Carlson, to be honest. But there were some other options that were a little bit better, in my opinion. So let's see if we can pull off this blockbuster, shall we? And to do so, we're going to give up Provorov. We're also going to give up Hughes. And that's, now you see why I wanted to hold on to these players and why those first few initial trades went by rather slowly. How close are we to having a done deal here? Straight up? No. Okay, so I'm going to have to give up a little bit more. That's understandable. How about a third? How close are we now? All right, I'll add the next 2 third-round picks there. Is that enough? No. So Provorov, Hughes. Now, again, I have confidence that Hughes won't develop. He very well could, and this could be a mistake, but I know I'm going after players, at least 2 prospects and an NHL-ready defenseman, the McAvoy, who, you know, kind of fit the bill for what we're looking for. Although McAvoy does get paid more, and you know what? Because of that, I'm really going to try to not necessarily fleece Boston here, because they are getting a very solid defenseman back and a decent prospect. But to be honest, they're about to get more than 1 decent prospect. This is going to be very difficult for me to pull this off. But we do have 2 goaltenders that I can look to move, and Hood is going to be the first one. My God, the players involved in this deal. And the Bruins, while they do have Louis Domingue, could use a bit of goaltending help. We'll do the second and the third. How close are we? Now that would go through, but they don't want to retain on McAvoy, and that's kind of a key for me. If you remember back last year, we got the Red Wings to retain salary on Connor McDavid. I'm hopeful I can get the Bruins, or with the Red Wings, we got Edmonton to hold salary on McDavid. You know what I'm trying to say here. I'm focused on not screwing anything up and not losing on this deal heavily. Will 25% work on McAvoy, because I don't want to pay him the full deal. Will that work now? Still no. I'm all right with missing out on this deal if it means we get to retain some salary on McAvoy. Straight up? No. Okay, so the Bruins just flat out aren't going to retain salary, which is unfortunate, but it does mean we should be able to get more back in this deal than I initially thought. Is that going to work? No, it's not. I don't think we'll be able to get the first rounder, but I'm at least going to try. How about a first and a third? No. Just the first? Still no. Okay. worth a shot. Second and a third. There you go. So I might have given up a little bit more than I should have, but I'm all right with it as long as I can still get this to work. So Provorov is gone. As crazy as that is, Provorov and Hughes are out. We have acquired McAvoy, Christek, and James. That is pretty damn ridiculous. Now let's go talk to Pittsburgh again, because we have a goalie to acquire. We also, though, have a defenseman I'm going to look to acquire. This guy right here, Telkvist. Whether or not I can pull this off, we will see. The main guy we're going to use here is Weaver. And I'm hopeful I don't have to add too much more to this, if anything. Just going to add a third rounder in to see what happens. Straight up, still no. Okay. So we still have third round picks of our own, including the one that we just acquired from the Bruins that we're going to try to use here in this deal. You see what I meant, though? In terms of rebuilding this team, that is exactly what we are doing, as the last draft didn't go according to plan. Weaver and 4 third-round picks is not enough. Wow. That is concerning. How about the Bruins second that we were able to acquire? Still not enough. All right. Now, this is where I start to get a little bit worried about what I gave up in the Bruins trade, because I might have given up a little bit too much. That I know. But let's see if we can get this deal done here. Pittsburgh's being a little bit difficult. I was hoping, because they wanted Weaver, that this would be a little bit easier. That hasn't been the case. I'll give up our first rounder to make this happen. Because again, I'm confident it's going to be a very low pick. A first and 2 thirds. What do you say? Still no, just a bit low in value. A fifth? I'm going to have to add another third. I'm fairly certain. How about a 4th next year? Is that enough? 4th round pick next year. It's going to have to be another third, more than likely. Yeah. All right, that's okay. And now if this doesn't go through, if the extra third isn't enough, that's when I get concerned. Yeah, had a feeling that might be the case. Had a feeling. We'll give up the Bruins second, but in return now I want a 3rd and a 6th back. Are you okay with that? No, you're not. How about just the 3rd? No. All right. How about the 4th and a 6th? Please. How about just the 4th? Pittsburgh, you are bothering me. That's a good way to put it. We'll be nice about it. How about just a 5th? These GMs, man. They're getting their revenge. They know I'm getting good players. They're getting their revenge with the minor details. Are you kidding me? I still have to add more? Oh my god. 5th rounder from Carolina. Is that enough? Wow. Sweeten it just a touch. Oh, you added a 2nd? Still not enough. You added 2 5ths? There we go. Jesus. Am I having to give up a lot to make this happen? But we have our goaltending set up as planned, with our main man in Petrolainen, and then a bunch of players that are going to battle for that backup spot, and also those that are going to make sure that the goaltending in Connecticut is strong moving forward. Our defense is almost set. We have 3 more players that I'm looking to acquire. However, I am running low on prospects to trade, which is very concerning. So let's see if I can pull these moves off. We're going to go talk to the New York Rangers, as they have this defenseman, Reimer, that I'm interested in. Now, I do have players like Bayer that I could give up on, but he's 17, so I want to give him a chance. Flood, I'm not giving up on either. And it's just a matter, I mean, right now he shows up as in the AHL. So technically, I don't have to go out and get one of the other defensemen, which is good. I thought he'd be CHL for 1 more year. If he's coming to the AHL, that's a really good sign for us. But this trio right here I have to give up on immediately. Is that enough to push the deal through? It is not. I have no idea what he just said, what the GM said in response, but it didn't seem positive. That's all I'll say. Is that enough? These 5 unsigned players for 1? No, it is not. Didn't mean to do that. Meant to go back to this spot here, go to draft picks. Is it a 3rd rounder? Is a 3rd rounder enough? I'll take out Petrolainen. Is another 3rd rounder enough? How about a nice, shiny, I was going to say 2nd round pick next year. How about a nice, shiny 2nd round pick a couple years from now? Now you're just being difficult. Another 3rd round pick? New York, like really, you are just being difficult here for no reason whatsoever, and I really don't appreciate it. New York, you're killing me. You are killing me. Like I said, I still have at least two more, actually, just one more player after this that I need to acquire. But still, you're being difficult. Skinner, 57 overall, 19 years old. He's like that last big piece that I could move if I need to, but I wanted to hold on to him to see if he would develop. I'm not giving up on every player, which is something you probably would have noticed at this point. I do want to keep somewhat of a fair balance between players we already have that might develop, that you could actually see developing, and players that aren't going to, like Sutter. So again, I'll add him to this. We get a bunch of medium 9s, but I'm hoping Sutter is the guy that can get this deal done at this point. Will that go through? No, it won't. But I add another third rounder, 1 prospect and 4 third-round picks for 1 defenseman. Still didn't go through. Right. How about that nice shiny second-round pick a few years from now? Still no. And in fairness, that I can see the value bars. It's still pretty close to even. And when they don't want to give up a player, that's a problem. Will this go through? No, it won't. Damn. Damn. Again, I gave up a little bit too much in the Bruins deal, and that's coming back to haunt me. I have the players to move to get this done. I'm going to have to do it. So Neterost is also going to be on his way out. He was one of those guys that I wanted to keep to see if he'd develop, but I'm doing what I got to do to get this deal done. Unfortunately, still, the Rangers aren't budging. They don't want to move this guy, which makes me feel like I've made the right choice in terms of the talent that we're going out and trying to acquire. The problem is, they are being so unbelievably difficult. This should go through. Come on now. You gotta be... I know it doesn't match the trade block. You sons of bitches. I can't give up on... I could give up on Vignetti. I could. Maybe. We'd be looking at having to rely on Tellqvist or James. And that would be a little bit too early. I don't necessarily want to give up on Vignetti either. He's looking like a solid player for us. The offensive awareness is a little bit weak. And there's also Flood that we still have. Do we give up on Bayer? You know what? I'm giving up on someone who could develop for a guarantee in Reimer. Because Reimer is what we expect Bayer to be. Problem is, Bayer's 17 years old. It's going to take him a while to get to this point. And we're looking to win cups. When we have Lucas Leidecker and Nathan McKinnon, we are looking to win cups, and we're looking to do it now. The last trade I had in mind, there are 2 defensemen I had in mind because I wasn't sure if Flood would be AHL ready. That is De Silva, 70 overall at 19 years old, and Saugus on Vegas, 71 overall at 19. So we'll go for Saugus for now, and then Flood will be the extra guy in the AHL. If that's not the case and he spends the extra year down in junior, we go out and get De Silva from San Jose. So one more deal to make this happen, and I'm not wasting any time. I will give up the Winnipeg first to make this happen, because we still need to know what our offense is going to look like. I gave up a little bit too much to make that happen, but that's okay. I still need to know what the offense is going to look like. So with our contracts here, again, goaltending is set. It's perfect. Our defense is going to be looking pretty damn good. If we look at how many players we have signed right now, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then down in the AHL, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Who am I missing? I feel like I'm missing somebody. So the AHL is Reimer, James, Christek, Tellqvist. We have Wellwood, Saugus, I didn't mean to trade Atkinson. That was my mistake. The good thing is Neterost can be the immediate replacement. I just looked at the depth chart. I'm like, who did I get rid of that I didn't mean to? I didn't mean to trade Atkinson. But I can bring in Neterost as the replacement. Atkinson was going to be a depth guy anyway, so Neterost can be that player instead. So that is the defense sorted out. And then forwards, it's just a matter of who do we bring in. And it's a whole lot of average. That's the only way to explain it. It's a whole lot of average players right now. If we look at the main team, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with Bob Menard. So we're definitely going to have to bring in a forward. And it's going to have to be... So our top 6 is sorted. It's going to have to more than likely be a bottom 6 player. And just in general, I think we need AHL level players. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll bring in some players off the free agent list instead of looking anywhere else. So for forwards, we're looking for bottom 6, not even third liners. I'm looking for players that are okay with fourth line time. That we hopefully don't have to pay too much. So we have Slychuk, but he's an RFA, so no thank you. I probably should just search for UFAs then, shouldn't I? Probably. Maybe. Just to make it a little bit easier. Like I said, for forwards, I didn't have a set plan. I could bring in Radek Bulis. That is an option. We have Dylan Dubé. Decent defensively, well-rounded. We'll just go with that. I gotta bring in Radek Bulis, don't I? Although Ola Naslund is almost perfect. 84 offensive awareness. Solid defense. The puck skills are a disaster, but offensive awareness typically seems to be an even more important note. I'll bring in Radek Bulis, though. He didn't end up being what we wanted him to be. As it is, his potential dropped from medium elite to low elite. So I made the right choice in getting rid of him at the time. But considering we have a need for a fourth liner right now, he would be the right guy to bring in. Now, I could wait until the preseason begins, but the problem with that is that we have too many players. We simply have too many players. Gonna be completely honest, had to make a jump cut there. There was somebody at the door. My point that I was trying to make is that I don't want to wait until the preseason to sign players for the AHL squad, because otherwise the game will autofill those spots, and you know me, I like to just be able to go best lines with the AHL and not have to worry about taking out players who are signed to AHL only deals. So we are going to look to get rid of them, or we'd have to look to get rid of them. So we're going to look to just sign players right now, and what I'm doing is looking for the first player who is willing to accept a contract under $1 million. That would be Mika Salamaki. I have to give him a 2-year deal, which I'll do, because I could just trade him whenever I felt like it, or whenever I feel like it, really. Who else can we bring in here? Ostap Safin, Houston. Actually, I think they're a little bit too good. Would it just be worth signing all those medium? You know what? Yeah, at this point, the free agent market is kind of screwed. It's just, let's go ahead and sign those unsigned prospects, all the medium top 9s that I don't really have too much faith in when it comes to development. Let's give them a chance. It means the AHL team is going to be a little bit worse than I wanted it to be. But that's okay. So who are we going to avoid signing? Nobody. LaChance. LaChance is the only guy that we're going to avoid signing, actually. Marjamaki and Pikarainen. Maybe I'll bring them in too. I don't know. So we have Alexiev. We have Kessel. Petterstrom. Celios. The main man, Essa Hall. God, I hope he develops in this series as well. That would be tremendous. And I'm going to hold off on signing the other... No, I'm not. Let's just bring him in. Screw it. Let's just bring him in. Medium bottom 6. It's going to be... It's not better than the alternative of signing a veteran, because it does mean that the team is going to be worse. But just for now, let's bring them in. That way, we can go to the start of the preseason. So let's do that. And also, that's right, I sent an offer into Bordelot, which I'm still all right with, as Bulis and Salamaki signed as well. I'm still all right with signing that Bordelot guy because, again, such a low overall for him. He's not going to develop. He's trade fodder, which I really don't regret that decision now after what I had to give up to make some of these deals happen. So we're good. Now it's just a matter of seeing what kind of development we ended up getting out of any of our forwards. We'll definitely keep a close eye on some players as they hopefully develop throughout the course of this season. If they don't, I mean, we just send them away for prospects or recoup those draft picks that we just had to use. But this was without a doubt our best strategy at this point. When you have Leidecker, McKinnon, Petrolainen, the defense core that we have, although I am nervous to see how McAvoy does compared to Provorov, when you have this team, we have to go for it. We have to. And while we haven't been able to turn this franchise into the prospect factory that we saw with rebuilding Hockeytown, which, by the way, I don't think we're ever going to see that again. I think that series was very special in the way that everything panned out and we were actually able to consistently have those top-notch prospects. I wouldn't expect every one of my series to eventually become that. And case in point, this series has not. As Drury, unfortunately, is a starter and Perreault is a backup, but we'll be okay. So our defense is almost set, although Reimer developed a bit better than I wanted him to, and we're in a little bit of cap trouble too. So right now, I'm not going to have the ability to make the moves that I want to make. So we have to go out and sign a veteran to a ridiculous deal. Now, I still see some people confused over this. So here, you know what? Let me go back. The reason why I sign players to like $15 million per season deals are for this reason. We are so close to the cap floor that I can't send down someone like Reimer without us being underneath the cap. So if I sign a veteran to a $15 million deal, although actually it'll probably be more around 10, 11 million, if I sign a veteran to that deal, it once again gives me the freedom to actually make the changes that I want to make with the team. Bulis is actually a third liner, which is okay, I guess, in a way. Also, we have 5 first-line guys. This could be trouble when it comes to balancing this team out throughout the course of the season. Anyway, let me go sign that veteran. We'll see how the AHL team is looking. There might still be a couple of changes we need to make. We will find out. I need a veteran here who wants a little bit more money, which, I mean, I just got to sign whoever, I guess. Richard Panik's kind of the perfect guy as a depth player. 35 years old as well. Works for me. Like I said, we're going to bring this to about maybe 11 million since we had, what was it, $18 million in free space. So we'll drop this down to 11 million. I still wish this was like FIFA, where I could just hit the Y button and then change the numbers in any way I wanted. It would make it a little bit easier, but it is what it is. So let's get this down to, right about there works. And we'll have him accept. That'll give me the freedom to do what I want to do with this roster. Also, scouting, before I forget, scouting, WHL, let's go, actually here, you know what, let's take a look at view prospects in region, I guess. Wait, no, draft board. I wanted the draft board, which would be view prospects in region. What am I thinking? I am, no, there we go, view draft class. I'm off my game today, man. I don't know what it is. Maybe just because I'm recording in the afternoon, it's snowing outside, I don't know. There's apparently a franchise-level player in the draft. Who do you play for, sir? Swift Current. Alright, so we got Swift Current. We obviously got the U.S. Well, actually, it's not obvious, but yeah, Portland Winterhawks. Alright, so we're scouting out the WHL. That is clearly the way to go. So let's focus heavily on the WHL to start off, which, you know, it's more about finding that depth. It sucks because if you scout somewhere for 6 weeks, then, you know, you can't get that fine balance. You essentially just have to choose. Do I want elite Canadians or do I want elite Swedes? It's been the same thing. It's frustrating. But again, favorite phrase, it is what it is. That's not my favorite phrase. I'm lying. I flat out lied to you. I betrayed your trust as a trusted YouTuber. I hate that. I hate that damn phrase. I do. YouTubers are those that end up in YouTube Rewind and look like a bunch of tools. Tools that have more money than me. So I don't know. I'd sign up for being a tool if I was making some of the money that some of those guys are making. No problem. Oh my God, Toogie just said he would sell out. You're damn right I did. You're damn right. But was I being serious or was I just rambling to pass the time? It's up for you to decide. No, it isn't. It isn't. Anyway. So our team at the moment. Let's see. I mean, Pressburg's fine. So Bulis is still going to be sent down. The second line is, I mean, the lines are basically perfect. We'll have Spike Rowe at center. I mean, I'm not going to have my preferred handedness on these players, but that's okay. So we'll have Bulis, Pressburg. Actually, I kind of want Bulis and Pressburg out on the wings, but it doesn't really make too much sense with Stoll. So Bulis, Pressburg, and Stoll. Looks good to me. So Radek Bulis makes his return to this team. And now the defense is pretty much set. Appleby, Tuzolino, Harkins, McAvoy, Sizik, and Tony Vagetti, who is up to a top 4. So, unfortunately, I mean, the good thing is we've had some player development. The bad thing is we've had some player development, and that could cause trouble with the morale system and some players complaining about ice time. It'll be a difficult balancing act. But if that is the case, see case in point, by the way, Cronwall's still there. But at least it's not a factor as far as the AHL team signing players. It could still be a factor is what I'm saying when it comes to having to move players also. Who do we have on defense? Just Flood and Neterost? Perfect. Not that I want Flood to be a depth defenseman, but that's totally what's happening this year. Flood is the right side injury call-up. Neterost is the left side defensive depth D-man, I should say. But at least Flood's not medium elite. He's medium top 4, just like Saugus and James. So that defense is looking pretty damn good, if I do say so myself. Not to mention the fact that, of course, Reimer progressed to a top 6. So it's going to be a real balancing act with some of these players. And then for forwards, I'm going to take out Salamaki. I mean, yeah, I guess at this point, we just flat out commit to going with all of our prospects, and we just hope for the best. Might not be the best strategy. I was kind of hoping to have a good mix of veterans and depth players. I meant to look at potentials here. Kostitsyn's the only other medium 9. Okay. But it's looking like this is what our strategy's going to be. There was one low top 9 in Nilsson. He's a 67, but still, I'm going to take him out for Kostitsyn. Actually, man, he's a 67, though. Do we take him out? Yeah, Kostitsyn's not 23. That was weird how that glitched out. Menard's 22. Sanford. I mean, I definitely don't think Sanford's going to make it. Low top 6, 21 years old. Nilsson, low top 9, 23. Yeah, Nilsson's 23, though. He's not going to develop. So that's fine. So if we set up the AHL as we want it, we actually don't have that many righties. Okay, just Celios and Sanford. So let's go with the best potential on the highest lines. So all medium top 6 players go straight to the top lines. Unfortunately, we only have 2, which means Essa Hall is a low top 6, gets onto the second line. Rokon will get there. Schubert might. Maybe. Oh, you know, from there we'll go higher overall. So yeah, that works. That works. With the exception of Essa Hall. I'm putting him on the top line for obvious reasons, really. So let's go with, who's the better center? 71. Alright, pretty much everyone has a 70 in faceoffs. It's funny how that works. So yeah, I mean, that's looking like the team in a way. I guess that's it. That is the team moving forward. Not as good as what I wanted it to be. The alternative is all these medium top 9 guys we move out for players like Salomaki and Panik, which probably isn't for the best. Mario Bordeleau will be traded, so ignore him and Kronwall. So for depth, we have Pekarainen, Marjamaki, and Nilsson, Flood, Netarost, and Shea. It's perfect. I have the exact numbers that I want. Literally, I mean, I have this team down to a T with the exact numbers that I want. This is it. These are your teams. The Whalers and the Connecticut Whale are set. Now it's just a matter of, can we keep everybody happy? If we can't, then we look to make moves. We'll recoup some draft picks, maybe get, you know, players that are better suited for the role that we're looking for them to play. But we're good to go. This worked out pretty damn well, with the exception of, as I mentioned, the AHL team being a little bit worse than I expected. But at this point, to say that another 50-win season would be pushing it, probably not, as you get a look at the trade values of the players that we have. Now, of course, getting into rebuilding Hockeytown, it wouldn't have started dropping off until halfway down. It drops off a little bit before then, but we're still looking good. We are still looking good. Maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to turn this team into a prospect factory. We shall see. We shall see. But for now, guys, that will do it for this one. We'll also keep an eye out to see, though, if Ranta and Laflemme can progress as unsigned players since the patch came out. We shall see. For now, that will do it for this one. I hope you did enjoy. As always, we'll see what happens with this team moving forward into the next episode as this series continues. Not sure how I feel about this episode. Let me know. Was this an enjoyable episode for you? Hopefully it was. And I can put my mind at ease. Have a good one. Take it easy. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.